This special occasion. We would like to extend our sincere thanks to members of the press and media who have joined us today from across different channels and platforms. We truly appreciate you taking this time to be here and share this moment with us. Phenom is transforming the way people find work and the way business find the right people. And we believe there is always a better way. This belief is reflected in our purpose, helping 1 billion people find the right work. And that brings us to IAMPHENOM. IAMPHENOM is a Phenom's flagship HR technology and innovation conference, bringing together leaders, technology experts, HR professionals, business decision makers, and innovators to explore the future at work, talent, and AI. The conference has been a strong part of Phenom's global journey for several years, and editions taking place across key markets including United States, Europe, and India. In the United States, IAMPHENOM is hosted annually in Philadelphia, traditionally in March. In Europe, edition takes place later in November, while in India, edition has been a part of our annual celebration every December. Our first Indian edition was held in Hyderabad in 2024 in Trident. In 2025, we took the conference to Bengaluru at Hilton, and now in 2026, IAMPHENOM is coming back to Hyderabad. We are proud to be among the HR technology companies creating a dedicated platform in India to bring together the industry, customers, partners, and technology community around these conversations. Today, we are privileged to have with us Manibai Reddy, CEO and co-founder of Phenom. We also acknowledge the presence of our Senior Vice President of Engineering, Shivanand Akela, Vice President HR and Talent Acquisition, Srinivas Pindi, and Vice President of Product Management, Amit Kumar. With that, it is my pleasure to welcome Manibai Reddy, CEO and co-founder of Phenom, to share more details on Phenom and IAMPHENOM 2026.
We did do press conferences before. This is the first time we're doing. Like what we thought about really giving you the viewpoint about where Phenom comes from, how India landscape is changing with AI, and what is our contribution to the overall equation, is what our thought process is. Okay, so can you hear me?
Yeah, fine.
This is audible? Okay.
Brightness
Taking my story, I grew up in, I'm born and brought up in Machilipatnam, which is in Krishna district. And then I went to US 25 years back, started a company. But when we started a company, we thought about one thing, a purpose, helping 1 billion people find the right work. So the most important critical thing is the right work. The primary reason for this is, how do you find the right work for the people, which is super critical. Because there is a difference between just doing a job and doing a right job, where you're connected, evolved, and you think you're doing your greatest work of your life. So we constantly think about how do we help people. And for that, we use technology. And how do we use technology? In which companies? We have over 100 GCCs who use our product. These 100 GCCs are everywhere across the world.
Sure.
Anything to do with delivery, logistics, those kinds of jobs. 4 and 5 are knowledge workers. Nurses, like software engineers, sales people, all that kind of stuff, or researchers and all that. Now what happens is, we get over 50 million jobs a year in our product. On top of it, we get over 1 billion people use our product every year. This is the infrastructure what we run. Now here is the most important part. There is a magic loop of how talent works. There is automation, there is also intelligence, and there is an experience. So how do you automate? How do you make it intelligent? How do you make it experiential? Now here is where it changes. the frontline jobs need extreme automation. Think about hiring for Swiggy. If you're hiring for Swiggy jobs, you can automate 90% without a human talking. Whereas if you're hiring a nurse or a software engineer, you cannot do that level of an automation. You should be very intelligent in understanding who these people are, what their skill sets are, and how they work. Now, zone 3 falls in between. Now, what happens is, the last 30 years, software just moved people from one spot to another. So what we really came up with is, how do we change this with intelligence? The AI has actually scaled right now at a different equation. What does the scale really means? The scale is actually transitioning the overall talent journey for every company. This is a talent transformation we have never seen before. So I'll give you an example. So if you take a company like Thermo Fisher, which is a pharmaceutical company, or IAMPHENOM, which is a bank, or if you take a company like DHL, how they hire and how they retain people, how they onboard people, fundamentally changes. How do they change? They change based on which location they're hiring, how effectively they're hiring. Now, if the change happens at that level, what happens to the jobs in the AI world is very, very important. Now, let me give you this example. How many of you were typists in your life? Only one. Have you worked as a typist before? What happened to that job? Is the typist job gone? How many of you use computer today? Almost everyone, right? Do you type?
Yeah.
So is typist job exist or it's gone?
Exist.
So the point is, typist as a job is not necessary, but typing became a norm. That's what is happening with technology. What's happening is, before a laptop, a typist is a job. After a laptop in everybody's hand, typist is not a job. Typing is a task. That is the most important transition what is happening with AI. What we used to think as a job won't survive. It becomes a task that everybody can do. Now typing survived, the typist didn't. The same thing will happen with AI. There are so many jobs which will become tasks, but it will create new jobs which we never thought. We're in the middle of this transition, which is very, very unique. Now, let me give you an example of what happened before. Somebody used to dictate and used to type. We transitioned, and now everybody is using typing. This transition is what we are in the middle of with AI. Now, India has over 50 million, over 500 million workers. Every year, India produces 100 million graduates, undergrad, PGs, PhDs. Not 100, 10 million. We have 500 million total workforce, 560 million. 10 million graduates every year. 10 million is the size of some of the countries in the world. Those many graduates we have. But if you really look at how many people are turning into retail workers, Swiggies and all, that's over 12 million. That's a frontline job. Knowledge worker jobs, we have over 10 million. So on average, India is getting close to 20 million people really getting into job families every year. With AI, their tasks are fundamentally switching. Like the typists don't exist. Like, how many of you thought, like, we have more delivery boys than cooks, ever thought 5 years back we'll have more delivery people than actually people who are cooking? We never thought, right? And here is the point. Zomato and Swiggy, what they deliver in one day. In US, there's a big company which is like Zomato, called as DoorDash. What they deliver in a week, we deliver here in 7 hours. Why? Our strength of the population. So what happens with this is, the way you use technology has to become very, very cheap. And it has to be accessible for every person. If it is not accessible, then it's not useful. So now, India's primary job is to make it so cheap that everybody can use it. So we have to make everything from a task view to a system view. What's a fundamental system change you're thinking? Previously, a restaurant used to have, you cook, you have a server, you serve on a plate, and you give it. Now, more than 60% of the food is actually sent to your home. That is a workflow change. Because of that, there are so many new jobs which we never thought just popped up all of a sudden. Now, AI is rewriting every workflow, every system today. This is the new opportunity we have never thought. Now, what's the biggest problem? Coordination. Can we use AI for effective coordination so that people can really get what they want in a much more effective way at a lower cost in a much more faster format? So you are shrinking time and you're shrinking cost. That is a fundamental job of technology. Now, what we do, we create an intelligent talent experience platform. What that means is, we look at the overall person and we fit them exactly where they fit in a company. And how we do it is, we collect the data, the people, and their interactions. And then we think about what is the workflow we have to change for that particular company. Let me give you an example. Let's take Royal Enfield. It's one of our customers who use our product. And take another company called Swiggy. They both use our product to hire people faster in their manufacturing units and even in the delivery infrastructure. Take another company like Cigna. They're an insurance company. They hire a lot of people for making insurance claims work, both in India, US, and different parts of the world. So we make sure how you can effectively bring them into the company, onboard them, and retain them long term. That's what we do as a company. And we look at HR, employees, managers, and the candidates, and we mix them together. And we use this data to effectively understand the applied AI use cases to make it super simple. So that software is not about executing tasks. It's about coordinating with your teammates so that you do parts of the task which you never used to do. But there's also another thing. There's an invisible side of every company. How a company operates. What's the difference between Reliance and Adani? Both are run by Gujaratis. That's not the point. What the point I'm trying to say is, there are two companies with two funding from the Adanis. Because of that, the company structure is different. Leadership is different. Rituals are different. The way you hire is different. The way you onboard is different. The way you pay is different. And which side will take bets are different. It is not just on a surface level. There is a humongous context here. And if you look at what that context is unstructured. Our job is take unstructured data and make it structured so that people can understand what's happening. For context is everything. What is context? This is the most important thing you have to think about. How many of you know all these books? All these books actually say the same thing. How we can live happily in human life. Whether it's Quran, Bible, or Bhagavad Gita, pretty much the same content said with different stories, with different contexts, with different output. And there are 800 books like this. Why? Because they're contextual to you. Your culture, your stories, your location, your thoughts, the people who look like you. Now, let's take an example of Gita for a context of India to a certain extent. There's Bhagavad Gita, there's Ashtavakra Gita, there is Yoga Vasishtha. All are Gitas. Why do you need so many? One is a warrior fighting, and you are really teaching a Gita there. The other one is a God don't know a God, what God means, and a guru is explaining. And the third one is a king really in a unique situation of fear, and a person who don't even have a proper body explaining. It's the same content explained in different contexts. AI will help you to get a context at a different level you have ever thought about. Now there are 60 Gitas. Why? They're making you contextually understand how to apply for your own life. AI will scale at a different level. They won't do what God does. They actually do. They'll give you a context in an effective format. And if you look at like all Gita, for example, how many know Gita is almost like in India 60-70% or 80% know? 15% apply it, 5% actually systematically practice it, 1% live for it. Same thing for every book. So how can you use technology to make it manifest differently is the primary innovation right now we have to think about. Now, Phenom, what we do is we always try to think how to build context. Context is about understanding where a company really sits. How can you turn intelligence into language in minutes? And how do you turn language into insight in seconds? So we create a context for every company based on where they sit. We call this an ontology. This is the primary backend engine which feeds how a context operates. So context is nothing but why Quran is written, why Gita is written, why Bible is written, in what context. We are not defining what it should have. Same with the company. How a company operates based on their candidates, based on their employees, based on their managers, based on their recruiters, and based on their HR. How do you connect all of it so that your business and the people operations are connecting together? That's what we do as a business. And so that we can really deliver at each individual where they sit. The top 1%, the top 15%, the bottom 70%. The individual contributors in a company, the managers in a company, the leaders in a company, each one has a different context. And we design this as an experience for every company. Now what happens is we're moving from what it used to be to where it should go. People are really transitioning to hyper-personalized experiences, create pipelines, effective managers, and make IT really work effectively. That's what we call as work hops. Phenom work operating model, or Phenom work operating system. This actually makes the human and the machine come together very effectively. And this transition is what makes collaboration much more effective than ever. So we look at every company, which industry they belong, which function, which role, which geo, and which workflow. We combine all of it and really deliver as an experience. So this is the high-level product we just said. These are all the agents with AI we built. We built about 25 agents which can help the overall HR ecosystem, and we deploy this in this format. And these are the consumer sectors who use Godrej, Swiggy, Asian Paints. If you look at like financial services, IDFC, Fidelity, in healthcare, Dr. Reddy's, in IT, Genpact, Deloitte, Virtusa, if you see others like Adani's and all these companies actually use our product. So instead of managing resources for people, we are managing conditions for performance. That's what we do in HR. And we're optimizing people first, automation second, as a primary angle for building what we're delivering. At the end, like it's about 10,000 minds using Phenom work operating system to be effective at every spot. Okay, that's pretty much what Phenom is. You can ask questions, I can answer.
ఇంజనీరింగ్ సీట్లలో మీరేమో ఏఐ టెక్నాలజీతో ముందరికి వెళ్ళాలి, బాగుంటుంది, అద్భుతంగా అంటున్నారు. ఈ ఇంజనీరింగ్ జాబ్స్ని తీసేస్తున్నారు, ఇది ఎందుకు పెట్టాలి? రీసెంట్గా ఎక్కడైతే ఈ పిల్లలు రాసిన జేఈ వగేరా వగేరా ఉంటాయి కదా, అందులో సీట్లన్నీ మిగిలిపోయినాయని రీసెంట్గా గవర్నమెంట్ అనౌన్స్ చేసేసారు. ఇంజనీరింగ్ చేయడానికి భయపడుతుంది. దీని గురించి ఏమంటారు?
So here's the point. When technology changes, when task changes, your education system has to change. Education system compulsory change over. It cannot be what it used to be. So now, if you want to hire a person, you basically look for skills. Skills are only 30% indicators of somebody working in that company. The real indicator is, are you a personality match to the manager whom you're working for? If the personality match doesn't exist on a behavioral level, they won't work long term. So you're not just looking at skills, you're also looking at behavior, cognitive. The other areas will really pop up in general. So what that means is, just pure engineering won't work. Engineering has to be applied with some other psychology, biology kind of an infrastructure to embed into it. Those are the educational reforms which we have to really bring in. But India has a lot of population where we can learn faster. And we have proven that in IT revolution. So I think that we can do that again. It's not, but there is a transition period. Because of that transition period, so if you think before IT came in, before engineering, everybody used to do BA, BSc, right? Nobody used to do engineering, right? Only the last 30 years, engineering became the mainstream. Now engineering is becoming BA, BSc. What is the new stream is what we have to really figure it out. Like BA, BSc has no job, like no value, and engineering is the only one that has value. It's not an argument which we need to worry about. Because we are a progressive country which is really going forward. So, in general, progression happens only from one dimension. You need stability in chaos. That's where progress comes.
Explain about the IAMPHENOM India 2026.
Is it?
IAMPHENOM 2020.
So every year we do IAMPHENOM across the globe. We do in US, we do in Europe, and we do in India. US we are doing for the past 6-7 years. India we started 3 years back. Last year we did in Bangalore, a year before we did in Hyderabad. So in December we are doing again in Hyderabad. We'll mostly do in Hyderabad only. So it's about like bringing all the HR people to think about how AI will impact their workflows, how they're really doing their job, how they'll evolve. That's the primary thing what we really try to educate people in the industry.
How many people are expected participating?
We get about like 1,800 people.
Yeah.
వాట్ ఈస్ ద మెయిన్ మోటివ్ సార్? అది కొంచెం ఎక్స్ప్లెయిన్ చేయండి. మీ మోటివ్.
Billion people find the right job. For that, how do we influence the industry in India? So if you take India, in the a billion jobs what we're thinking, 400 million will be in India only. So we have to educate the talent ecosystem to think about where the evolution is going. That is the primary motto why we do these conferences. To make sure people align to where the industry is going, how they have to think about this industry, growing in the industry, but like get the real details. Thanks. I'm Mahi Bairadi, CEO and co-founder of Phenom. Phenom is an applied AI company specifically for HR ecosystem. My conference Indialo IAMPHENOM India conference, which is on December 17th just now. This is to invite all our customers to really come and get educated on how AI will really evolve in people business, how HR has to really orient themselves to the newer evolution. And that's a primary thing what we're really focusing on. And you will see a vast difference on how the industry will evolve the next 20 years are the major goal. So you will see a tremendous thought process. Phenom is located in India, in Hyderabad, Vizag, and also Bangalore. And we are really continuously growing. And like our goal is to really bring AI into the HR ecosystem in a very effective form. Thank you.
సో December 15th ఎవరు రావాలి సార్ ఇలా అప్లై చేసుకోవాలి
Yeah. So, like people have to apply. IAMPHENOM.com. If you go, you can see like how to. Okay. Thank you.